A Florida man claims he wasn't drinking and driving. He was only drinking at stop signs. A Florida woman told the deputy that getting arrested was on her bucket list. A Florida man was shot in the butt by his own wife and claims he still loves her. And a Florida passenger with no flying experience landed a plane at a Florida airport after the pilot had a medical condition. These are the weird stories for Friday on Weird AF News, and they're all from Florida, of course, because it's Friday. And on Weird AF News, we do Florida Fridays. All the weird news from this week from Florida. I'm your host, Jonesy. I'm happy that you're here with me. Let's get into it. Weird Florida, baby. A Florida man told the police he wasn't drinking and driving. He was only drinking at stoplights and stop signs. Brilliant. Let's see if this got him out of an arrest. A Florida man was arrested. Oh, no, it didn't work. Surprise. We learned right up top. A Florida man was arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol, also known as adult sodas. The Florida man tried to get out of this driving under the influence arrest by coming up with a story. He told the police that he was not drinking and driving per se. Technically, he was only drinking at the stop signs and the stoplights. So that makes it okay. Officers, I wasn't drinking and driving. I was drinking, then driving. You see, there's a difference. When you're drinking and driving, it means you're drinking while your foot is on the gas. But as soon as your foot gets off that gas, you're no longer driving. So this is all okay, right? By the way, I stopped extra times to make up for it. So, who would ever believe this? Come on, officers. It's just a new drinking game that I'm involved in. It's called take a shot at every red light until you make it home or go to jail. It looks like I lost this one today. Okay, let's get some deets. Indian County Sheriff's deputies were called to a McDonald's in Vero Beach, Florida, because of a vehicle that was repeatedly bumping the car in front of it in the drive-thru. He's bumping the car. Move it along! I need nuggets! Okay, so the police arrived. They found our quality Florida citizen Earl Stevens, age 69, in his vehicle with an open brown paper bag. Oh, he's got the old brown paper bag, does he? That's very old school, to drink out of a brown paper bag. No one's going to see it if it's in this brown paper bag. Okay, inside the bag was a bottle of Jim Beam. Classy. He told the deputies that he didn't recall bumping the car in front of him. I'm sure the car does. Earl Stevens, who only had a Florida ID card and no license, told the responding deputy that he has never really had a valid Florida driver's license to begin with. Good time. I've never really had a driver's license, but I just thought that shouldn't keep me off the road, you know? Look, somebody's got to take my Jim Beam out for a spin, you know what I mean? Jim Beam gets lonely in the house, wants to get out, wants to go to McDonald's. The deputy noted the strong smell of alcohol on Earl Stevens' breath and saw that his eyes were red and his speech was slurred. The deputy asked Earl how he was feeling. He was quoted as saying, "I'm feeling pretty good." Of course he's feeling good. He's drunk and in a McDonald's drive-thru. That's one of my happier places to be when I'm drunk, in a McDonald's drive-thru. Knowing that I'm about to eat some nuggets and fries makes me happy inside. Earl Stevens told the police he had only about 3 or 4 drinks, but technically he claims he wasn't drinking while the car was actually moving. Said he only took sips when he stopped at the stop signs and the traffic signals. Earl also told the police he had prescription medication before he began drinking. He's just telling them everything they need to know. He was asked to do a field sobriety test where he was observed swaying side to side, and he blew a .153 on his breathalyzer test, which is a lot. It's a lot. I mean, even if you're only sipping at stop signs, you can still get there. You really can. By the way, pretty smart to only drink at stop signs. That way you don't spill it, you know? Stupid. A Florida woman told the arresting officer that getting arrested was actually on her bucket list. A 19-year-old Homestead, Florida lady was arrested Thursday morning for fleeing from a deputy. She then told the Monroe County Sheriff's deputy that actually getting arrested was on her, quote, bucket list since high school. That's great. Hey, everybody has to have a bucket list, guys. You need to have goals in life. A Florida bucket list is a lot different than the rest of our bucket lists, though clearly, your Florida bucket list has getting arrested, learning to cook meth in your bathroom, dry humping an alligator at some point. I mean, these are the Florida bucket lists. Riding the public transportation with no pants, if you can. That's on the Florida bucket list. Stripping off all your clothes, getting high on a diving board and jumping in the neighbor's pool. In other words, trespassing. What's this lovely Florida woman's name? Janiyah Shamiracle Douglas. Shamiracle! Oh, she's got miracle in her name. The only miracle here is it took her 19 years to get arrested. It's Florida, lady. She was charged with fleeing and eluding. Ooh, eluding. I'm eluding you. Seems very strange. She's eluding. Get her. The sergeant reported that the driver of a Toyota was speeding and driving recklessly. A little before 8 a.m. Thursday morning, the officer turned on his car's lights and the sirens, but the miracle Florida woman kept driving southbound, finally stopping at a three-way intersection. And she was taken to jail, and that's the end of the story. There's really not much to it. And now our bucket list woman is probably going to have to make a new bucket list. And on that list should be posting bail, getting your driver's license back eventually. Maybe getting out of Florida. That should be on every Florida woman's bucket list. Getting the hell out. A Florida man was shot in the butt by his own wife. Claims that he still loves her, though. Naples, Florida. A Florida man was shot in the buttocks by his wife after he claimed she hit him with a car. This occurred Tuesday evening. Jose Trujillo is a very understanding husband. He said he was riding his bike home from work along the road. That's when Catherine Cruz, who Trujillo said is his wife, got in front of him with her car and slammed on the brakes. Here's a quote from our husband here. She happens to see me headed towards that way, pulls in front of me, hits the brakes really fast, and, I run right in the back of her car with my bicycle. By the time he got back on his feet, got back on the bike, Cruz, who he claims is his wife, pulled out a gun and aimed it at him, cocked it. Here's a quote from our man. My instinct at that time was just to run at her, I'm holding her hands. She's letting off rounds, I grab her. She's shooting off rounds, shot about 4 rounds. The 5th round, she happens to, weasel her way out, and that's when she shoots me back here, right back here. The bullet hit him in the right butt cheek. According to Trujillo, it was a lucky shot, man. Thank God the gunshot wound was in and out, just in and out. Trujillo claims that as his wife was shooting at him, she was screaming that he was robbing her. A good Samaritan luckily stepped into the scene using their own taser to stun him. Sounds like the Good Samaritan stunned the wrong person. Florida people just walking around with tasers. Sounds like a lovely environment. Here's some more from Trujillo. She comes down, right? The Samaritan trying to protect her. She's tasing me, and I'm smacking her, and I'm like, man, what are you doing? I'm the victim. My wife just shot me. What are you tasing me for? Tell her to get a better taser, also, because that's trash. I guess it didn't really hurt. So why would somebody shoot their husband? Well, this is Florida, but let's try and wrap our heads around it. Trujillo said the relationship has been going south ever since he came here, meaning coming to Florida, of course, where relationships go to die. Or they can go up to a new level if you want to find someone who can commit crimes with you. I moved down here from Texas, Houston to be exact, to make my life with her. She had a daughter that I loved as my own. The daughter, by the way, according to the police, was in the car when the mom shot him. The daughter claims she witnessed the mom shoot him. That's my wife after all, right? I do love her. She's been good to me. She gave me a better life, man. So, but, she's crazy as hell. Trujillo actually claims he was ready to put it all on the line. He was going to lie to the deputies just so that his wife wouldn't get into trouble. I was going to tell the police it was mine. I don't care. I want to protect my wife. That's my wife. As a husband, I'm supposed to stick it out to the end, and that's what I'm doing right here. Oh, you're doing it right, buddy. You're sticking it out at the risk of losing life and limb. Of course, they arrested the wife, and Trujillo had to go to the hospital for a ass bullet wound. While this was the final straw, not even a bullet to the butt can shatter love. Of course, I'd like to spend the rest of my life with her. That's my baby. That's my journey with her is going to continue. All right, buddy. This guy really believes in love. I suggest you get some jiu-jitsu lessons or something, though, or carry a weapon of your own if you're going to stay in this relationship. Talk about dedication. I mean, we've all broken up with people for less, right? How about you guys? Could you stay with someone after they shot you in the ass? Could you? Call the show. I'd love to hear. 646-450-2012. Mainstream news got you stressed out? Or maybe you just live in Florida. Life can be overwhelming and stressful. Symptoms could include lack of motivation, feeling helpless, detached, fatigued. Overall, maybe you're just burned out. Well, in those times, it's important to talk with a professional that can help you figure out what's causing stress in your life. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and live chat sessions with a professional therapist. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Now, Weird AF News listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/WeirdAF. That's BetterHelp.com/WeirdAF. And good luck with your health. Good luck with your life, man. After a pilot has a medical emergency, a passenger with no idea how to fly a plane lands it in Florida. A passenger with no apparent flying experience somehow managed to land a small plane in Florida on Tuesday after their pilot became, quote, incoherent following a severe medical emergency while in flight. The single-engine Cessna 208 landed successfully at the Palm Beach International Airport at about 12:30 p.m. on Tuesday. In a live audio from a call made to air traffic control at Fort Pierce Tower, the unidentified passenger can be heard warning, "I've got a situation here. I've got a serious situation here. My pilot has gone incoherent. I have no idea how to fly the airplane. No idea." The dispatcher responded, "Roger, what's your position?" "I have no idea. No idea what my position is. I can see the coast of Florida in front of me. That's about it. I have no idea. I've never done this before. Help." The dispatcher can then be heard telling the passenger to, quote, maintain level wings and just try to follow the coast, either north or southbound, as crews tried to locate the plane. Ultimately, the controller was able to walk the passenger through the steps to land the actual plane. How fascinating that you can do this right over the phone. It makes me think that maybe it's not so hard to land a plane if you could just instruct somebody over the phone, even if you have no idea. I don't have any experience, but I played video games before where you had to land a plane, sort of. What do? Just push the land button? Is there just a landing button that you can push? Don't these things fly themselves? There's like autopilot, right? But I highly doubt that'll land for you. Maybe it's not so hard to land a plane. Any pilots out there can corroborate this? Now, in addition to the audio captured between that unidentified passenger who landed the plane and dispatch, another air traffic controller can be heard telling the other planes in the area what had just happened. "You just witnessed a couple of passengers land that plane, by the way." The tower operator can be heard telling an American Airlines pilot waiting to take off. "Did you say the passengers landed that plane? Wow. Oh my God, great job, great job." High fives everywhere. After this miraculous landing, of course, the pilot was rushed to a medical facility. And the unknown passenger that landed that plane has now been given a contract by Delta. Just kidding. Now, I love this story because it's uplifting, no pun intended. It's really, at the end of the day, it's a story of a Florida man stepping up his game and saving lives. You know? I assume the pilot was drunk. These Florida pilots, they can't stay off the booze. You got to deal with that. So maybe everybody in Florida should learn how to fly a plane, because you never know when your pilot's going to pass out drunk. Yay! You like podcasts? You're listening to my podcast. Maybe you thought to yourself, I'd like to make a podcast. Too difficult. No, not with Anchor. Anchor has free creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your phone or your computer. Anchor distributes your podcast to Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. They have advertising integration, so you can even make a little money off your podcast. Everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And good luck with your podcast. Good luck with your creation. Good luck with your life, man. Hey, thanks for joining me for another episode of Florida Friday on Weird AF News. Thanks to everyone who sent me Florida articles. I appreciate that. You can always send me stuff to funnyjones@gmail.com or link them to me on Twitter or Instagram @funnyjones as well. I left the phone number somewhere in there in case you want to call and respond to any of these. I'm hoping the angry Florida man will give me a buzz. I want to give a thanks to someone who bought me coffee. And I'm giving this thing. I gave it the other day on an episode that there was a problem with. So I guess also I should say that Wednesday's episode, for some reason, some people weren't getting. I don't know why. I recorded it. I distributed it. I noticed the numbers were very low. I've reached out to Anchor, the podcast platform that I use, and they say everything looks good on their end, but I know for a fact that some people didn't get that episode. I'm not quite sure. It's definitely available on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. I went and checked. But I guess on some other players, you may not have gotten it, so if you go to Spotify, you can listen to it. But on that show, I gave a thanks to Taylor Williams, who bought me coffees, and wrote, thanks for making me laugh. Taylor's also a patron. Joined the Patreon. Just doing some extra giving. Just felt extra giving this week, so thank you, Taylor. You guys can buy me coffee or join the Patreon on my website, weirdafnews.com, or go to patreon.com/weirdafnews. Also wanted to give a shout out to Thomas Lanier, who joined the Patreon earlier this week. He wanted me to say that his oldest sons, Tommy and Justin, also listen to my show every day and wanted me to give them a shout out. Said it would make their day. So big shout out to Tommy and Justin Lanier, listeners, avid listeners of the Weird AF News daily podcast. And I appreciate that. I appreciate all my listeners, man. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend, by the way. Or maybe you had it already because you're listening to this Monday morning. Or maybe you're about to have it because you're listening to this Friday evening. But yeah, I hope you're having a great time. I have a show tonight, Friday night, and then tomorrow night, Saturday, I'm going to a concert. Haven't been to one in a while. I'm going to see one of my favorite old school R&B artists. He goes by one name, just like me. Babyface is his name. Are you guys familiar with Babyface? Unbelievable songwriter. I mean, he's written for so many people. Mariah Carey, Boyz II Men, Michael Jackson. He's produced for all sorts of artists. Multiple Grammy-winning guy. Unbelievable. I saw him in New York many years ago, and he's just, even at his age, he's just doing it, man. Puts on a great show. So I'm very excited to see him tomorrow night here in Los Angeles. So I think I'm going to have a pretty good weekend. And I hope the same for all of you. I love you. Take care.